Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Thursday, November 6th, 2025. That is more than 5.5 years of Torah every single weekday morning, finding each other across the world to say good morning. Adele, Meirav, Tracy Ann, it's good to see you. Hi, Michael. Hope that you all are safe and well. Linda, good morning, kind soul. It's good to see you. Robin, welcome, my friend. It's been a while since I've seen you. It is broadcast 1420, which is quite a number. We've come together that many times in a row, knowing that we'll find each other so we can learn Torah together, strengthen each other, and face the world as it is, and commit to making it just a little bit better. Ashley and Minna, Lydia and Barry, good morning. Fabrice and Amy, good to see you. Let's see who else is here. We'll sing a bracha in a moment. Jack and Amy, Boker Tov, everybody. Let's take a breath. We're going to sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Here we go. Deborah and Judy and Jacqueline, nice to see you. Hi, Jonathan. Roberta, happy birthday. Today's for you. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. Penny, thanks. It is broadcast 1420. Wow, is that something to think about? A lot of things to share. I'll get to Torah in a moment. I wanted to make sure that we took note, friends, that as of last night in Israel, there are 6 beloveds, 6 people, 6 human beings who were taken and murdered by Hamas, that we are waiting for their return. Yesterday, we were blessed to have returned to us the body of a Tanzanian national who was an agricultural intern on kibbutz Nachal Oz. His name was Joshua, his name remains, Joshua Loitu Molel, and he had been held by Hamas until yesterday. His parents, his father in particular, in Tanzania, has blessed the Hostage and Missing Families Forum for standing with them, for us all being one family. And Joshua's body will be returned to Tanzania for a dignified burial. He was and will remain one of ours. So we say welcome home to our beloved, and we will fight until we don't have to anymore for the return of our 6 beloveds. Last night was an extraordinary event at Temple Emmanuel here in New York City's Stryker Center. It was a UJA event taking place there, featuring Emily Damari, who had been a hostage taken by Hamas, is a human being who is feistier than any person I've ever met. You probably know some of these iconic images because in the attack, in the brutal violence by Hamas, she lost her 2 of her fingers, or 1 of her fingers, I think 2. And so if you see these images, that is her incredible power. This was her first public audience in the United States. She was interviewed by the amazing Noah Tishby at an event that we held in New York City. And the power of her testimony just resonates. She used language that Jews know, which is, we must bear testimony, never again. We will never forget. That kind of language is so important. Yes, it is shocking to hear it from a young Jew in the world. But yes, it is our obligation to amplify it no matter what. And so I'm so grateful that we have the chance to hear from heroes. Noah Tishby has been an activist, an advocate, an amplifier of so much beauty and heroism from within our community. And it is Emily's voice that we should be hearing. Thank God for her. And last night, thank you. That's very sweet, Nancy. I was blessed to be in conversation with a wonderful rabbi, Rabbi Jeff Salkin. That was lovely. Has nothing to do with this, but thank you for being there. Let's jump into some Torah for today. With everything swirling, isn't it nice to have Torah? So it's good to see all of you. I hope that you and yours are safe and well. Here's a little bit of Torah from Parshat Vayera. We read this week in the Jewish community from the middle of the book of Breshit, the middle of Genesis. This is a story we know well. In Parshat Vayera, we read about the story of Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah. We also read about the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. All of this is familiar because of how intense it is. It's remarkable that it was included in the Torah to begin with because it's not pleasant reading. But each part of it carries incredible, provocative lessons. So here is one of the sections that leads into the story of Sodom and Amorah, Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a moment where the Torah reveals, this is chapter 18 of the book of Genesis. I hope that you will look it up, because if it weren't in there, it would be hard to believe that it was in there. God says to God's self, we are granted a glimpse into God's inner process. As strange as that is to say, the Torah doesn't hold back God's contemplation. I'm just going to read the verses, a little bit in Hebrew and then the rest in English. This is chapter 18, verse 17. Vayomer va'Adonai amar, God said to God's self, Hamichaseh ani me'Avraham asher ani oseh. Shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? He's about to become a populous and great nation. All the nations of the earth are to bless themselves by him. That's the Lech Lecha covenant last week. For I have singled him out that he will teach his children and his children's children to keep God's way by doing what is just and right in order for the covenant to be fulfilled. I want you to think about that language for a moment. Not only because of how remarkable it is to see inside of God's mind, for the Torah to be such a radical collection of verses that it even purports to tell us what God thinks. God says, should I hide from my beloved servant what I am planning to do? I've promised that the nations of the world will be blessed through him if he and his community act justly. That last part of it is the important part. We are to act justly. Do you remember, this is a very famous part of the story that's to come, how when God does reveal God's plan to Avraham, what Avraham says? He says, Hashofet kol haaretz lo ya'aseh mishpat. The judge of all the earth is not going to act justly. Would you kill the innocent along with the guilty? What if there are 50 righteous people in the cities of Sodom and Amorah? God says, you're right. I won't if there are 50. And then Abraham says, but if there are 5 fewer than 50, you can't do it at 45, right, God? God says no. And Abraham haggles down to 10. What if there are 10? What if there's a minion of righteousness in the community? Doesn't the community deserve to be saved? Isn't that a worthy community? Now, God might know in advance that there are not 10 righteous people. You might even note that Avram's nephew, Lot, lives in Sodom and Amorah. That's part of the backstory here. But Avram doesn't argue for the release of his own family. He argues for justice and righteousness, which is what God actually wanted the entire time. Fight for this. Because a bigger question on the meta level here is important to consider. If God already knows that the city is not just, the city is full of cruelty, why does God not just do what is just? Why include Abraham in the thinking, in the planning? So here's a thought. We know that we are called to act justly, not to act for vengeance, not to demonize others, but to fight justly for justice, which includes bringing Joshua Loitu Molel home, which includes bringing the 6 beloveds home. That's justice. Post October 7th, the fight for justice has animated our work. When there have been moments when Tzahal has acted beyond what is just, it has held itself accountable. When there are moments when there have been tensions between the political leadership in Israel and Tzahal, that has been a time that we act to correct ourselves. We have demonstrated that we hold ourselves accountable. And isn't it interesting to consider, is that what God is doing here? Is the Torah demonstrating that even God holds God's self accountable? What a remarkable suggestion. You know, the great Stan Lee, who created so many of the superheroes in the Marvel Universe, when he put words into characters, he sometimes projected these Jewish values. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to hear Stan Lee. Oh, my friends on Instagram, if you come to Facebook, I've received a call. I said no to it, but now there's no sound. So I'm going to wave to all our friends on Instagram, give a kiss, and end that broadcast. Stan Lee put into his characters' hearts and minds words that come from Jewish tradition, including Spider-Man, Peter Parker's uncle. In the movies, his aunt, which is interesting too. He says, or she says, with great power comes great responsibility. The infinite power of the divine still holds itself accountable to the human appreciation of justice. Perhaps God was saying to God's self, I can't do this without Avram knowing that justice matters. This isn't destruction on a capricious whim. If it's beyond redemption, it's beyond redemption. But there's a due diligence involved here. Listen to this one small part that I haven't read yet, which makes that clearest. God says to Abraham, after saying, can I hide it? No, I cannot. So this is what God says to Abraham. The outrage of Sodom and Amorah is great. Their sin is so grave. I will go down. Interesting that God is up, going down. We'll deal with that another time. To see whether they have acted altogether according to the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will take note. You know what you call that? Due diligence. Just because you hear something sounds bad doesn't mean you know the totality of what is true. The due diligence that God does with Avram as witness shows something important for us to consider. We have to make sure that when we are responding according to the facts, and our method of response is just. Anything less than that is inappropriate, even for God. What a fascinating thing for the Torah to demonstrate. As descendants of Avram and Sarah, we are witness to that. We are witness to the ethical use of power by the divine. May we learn that lesson well. May we carry it forward. May we have no need to pursue justice when injustice is perpetrated against us. But if that becomes the case, anywhere in the world, here in New York City and anywhere else, what an important lesson for us to verify the facts and to respond justly. May we be blessed to internalize that wisdom, may it be a self-accountability measure. And if due diligence demonstrates that a response is necessary, may we make sure that our methods are as just as the goals. God did that. We are called to do that too. Nothing less. Let's take a breath, send our hearts to the east, and sing. Kolon malevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lo avda tikvatenu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.